Hi, this is Cooking Kath. I had a special request from one of my relatives up in Canada, Sherry Trecarton, when she saw me starting this cooking show, said, "Kath, can you please make your pork tenderloin with that spicy plum sauce?" So today I'm going to make that. We start by making the plum sauce. You can make the plum sauce a day ahead. It does need to be made ahead because you are using fresh ingredients. The first thing we start with is we're going to soften some onions. A half of a sweet onion is what I prefer, either a Vidalia or a Maui sweet onion. So you need a tablespoon of canola oil, olive oil, whatever your preference, heating in the pan. And then we're going to take the half of an onion, which I've already chopped, and we're going to put it into the pan. We want to soften those for a few minutes, and then we're going to start adding some spices after they're softened. We'll let them cook up for a moment so they're nice and soft. And the spices we'll be adding today are a 1/4 teaspoon of allspice, cloves, ginger, and cinnamon. That's nice. So I'm going to add those spices like I said before. And hear the sizzle of the onions. So there's the cinnamon. The allspice. The ginger. And finally the cloves. And these are the spices that give this sauce such a nice flavor in the sauce. So what we're going to do is we're going to stir that around and allow the onions and the spices to cook together for a little bit. Don't have the heat on too high, keep it a little low, because now what we're going to do is we're going to go chop up our plums and get our fresh orange juice and grated orange to add to the sauce. So I've already washed my plums, and you want the skin and all. So just sort of cut around the seed to get the flesh. Make sure your plums are nice and soft. These are very juicy. So they should make a nice sweet yet spicy sauce. Need about 1 pound of plums. In the circumstance it ended up to be about 5. Depending on the size of your plums, you know, so just go for about a pound. And the recipe also calls for about 1 tablespoon of fresh orange rind. So I'm going to take my microplaner here. Again, I washed the orange previous to this. So I get about 1 teaspoon. And I do like to use the fresh orange versus store-bought juice, but you can certainly do that if you don't have a fresh orange in the house. And I'm just going to sort of plop that into the plums. And now we're going to take our orange and cut it in half, and I need about 3/4 of a cup of orange juice. So I'm going to juice the orange. I chose a Mineola orange, I believe is what it's called. A very juicy orange. So again, my favorite measuring cup where I can look down. Oh, not quite. Looks like I need the other half. In the meantime, the onions and the spices are cooking and softening up. And there we are to the 3rd cup. Take a look at the onions. They're nice and soft now. They have the brownness of the spices. And now what we're going to do is we're going to add the rest of the ingredients. First we'll add the orange juice, 1/3 cup. The plums with the orange rind. Nice aroma with the oranges now and the spices. And then the final ingredient is brown sugar for the sweetness. And what we're going to do is we're going to stir this all up, and we're going to let it cook for approximately 15 minutes till it's really nice and thick. The fruit has softened and the juices have come out of the fruit, and we'll have a nice, beautiful sauce that we'll be putting on our grilled pork later this evening. Again, you can see that all the things are blended very well. And now it is just to wait till it bubbles and gets nice and thick, and then our final step will be puree. Well, the plum sauce has been cooking for about 20 minutes now, and you can see that the skin has pulled away from the fruit. The sauce has gotten thicker, and the aroma is amazing. You can smell the sweetness, but also the kick of the spice. So it looks like the sauce is ready to puree. So what we're going to do is take it off the heat. And what I do use, I find very convenient, is I love this Cuisinart Smart Stick. Instead of putting it in a food processor or a blender, I used to make a mess of things. And once I discovered this, it was so nice you could do it in the container in which you were cooking. So you have to make sure that it's immersed in your whatever you're going to try to puree. And you just start moving it around, up and down motion. Be careful because it is hot. Give it a stir, and then start the process again. And we're trying to get all that nice brine, all ground up in the onions. And just take a quick stir, making sure that there are no pieces of the plum that you may have missed. And you are done. The sauce is now ready to be used. You could use it right away, or you can refrigerate it and use it at a later time. We will be cooking later this evening, so I'm just going to pour it into 2 different containers. One will be used for the barbecuing, and the other will be actually used as sauce on the pork. So I'll just be putting it into my containers. So welcome back. It's now time to make our dinner. Our plum sauce is ready, nice and thick. We have some put aside for basting of the pork. We also have some heating in the saucepan over here that we'll be using at the table when we actually serve the pork. So what I've done earlier is I've put some olive oil and salt and pepper on the pork. There's no need to do anything else. And I heated up the grill for a good 15 minutes prior to putting the pork on. Normally I would have been cooking outside, but we're expecting a hurricane today, so my plans to cook sort of got changed. So luckily I have an indoor grill. If you didn't have an indoor grill, you could actually do this in the oven. You would put it in a pan and brown it on all the sides, then put it into a baking sheet and bake it for about 20 minutes, and then you would start the basting process in the oven. So just because inclement weather would ruin your possibility of having this nice meal, you can